Tonight, I'd like to give Jesus Christ all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise for the salvation of my soul and for the forgiveness of my many, many sins. 3 years ago, I was down on my knees before God in my apartment. I felt very helpless and hopeless without a future. I was tired of being abused by my boyfriend physically and emotionally. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. You see, I was struggling with a 10-year addiction to crack cocaine. On this day, I wanted to take my life. I didn't want to live anymore. You see, I was born and raised in Oklahoma, where my parents, Carl and Marge Miller, raised me in a very loving home, my sister and my 3 brothers. We moved to Piedmont, Oklahoma, which is a town 30 miles outside of Oklahoma, where I started high school in 1978. And I learned that my mother was dying of cancer. And she lost that battle December 3rd, 1978. I just started 9th grade in high school. I was 14 years old. And I was very distraught when this happened. It devastated me. I was very fearful of an unknown future without my mother. And as a result, to fill that hole in my heart, I began to experiment with alcohol and later started smoking marijuana. And as a result, my straight A's went to D's and F's. I started getting suspended. I started having problems at home. Time went by before I would hear the good news about Jesus Christ. When I was 23 in 1985, someone told me about Jesus. I accepted him as my Lord and Savior. My life began to turn around. I began going to church on a regular basis. I met new friends. I met my husband in 1992, where I was married. In 1995, I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy named Joshua Michael. Our marriage seemed to be going well on the outside, but on the inside we had a lot of problems, a lot of financial problems, a lot of secrets, infidelity. In 1998, we filed for divorce. At this time in my life, I became very distraught, very upset, because I wanted to be married like my parents had been for 40 years, but it wasn't happening that way in my life. So as a result, I had a nervous breakdown and I ended up in the hospital. My sister-in-law took custody of my son. And at that point in my life, I became very, very angry. I wanted to blame God for everything that had happened to me. I would get so angry at God that I would say, how would you let this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? And I would yell at him and I would say, well, first you took my mother away, now you've taken my husband, and now my son. And it was that point in my life that I purposely walked away from the light of Jesus into the darkness, where the enemy was waiting there to torment me, and he did. As a result of that, I started going to bars and clubs and drinking alcohol again, and I began drifting away from the love of Jesus. At that point in my life, it brought me to my apartment when I was living by myself and I had just been beaten up by my boyfriend. I had kneeled down on the floor in the middle of the living room. I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired because I couldn't control this addiction that took control of my life. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop. And I kneeled down before God and I said, God, please save me. Please help me. And I raised my hands towards heaven. I said, Jesus, I need you. I need you to help me because I don't know how to stop. And deep within my spirit, I heard him say, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. And I said, yes, Jesus, what is the truth? How do I stop? I want to be set free. And then I heard him say, you shall have the victory. So I got the Oklahoma City phone book. I started looking for places that had the name Victory in it. Nothing came out by that. So I kept asking God, well, what do you mean by the victory? You shall have the victory. And then it dawned on me that it wasn't the victory in Oklahoma, but it would be the victory in San Antonio at the Victory Home. That was in 2007. I went to the Victory Home. I stayed for 90 days. It's a faith-based program that is for rehab facility, faith-based program for people that have addictions like myself. I went there and I stayed longer than 90 days. I stayed 13 months. When I got out on actually May 17th, on my birthday, they came to me, the director of the home as well as the pastor came to me and said, we think you're ready to go back in society. So we believe God's delivered you and He's set you free. So June 2nd, 2008, a friend of mine came to pick me up. They drove me they said they found a place called Maggie's Home in Austin. So we drove up to the front of the house. I saw an angel sitting in the front of the house, and I immediately felt a peace come over me. When I walked inside the house, it was beautifully decorated. All the girls were very nice to me. We had dinner, we had a Bible study. When I first met Cheryl, an uncanny thing happened to me. I have a sister that's also a hippie. And when I saw her long hair, and I gave her a hug, of course she wears patchouli, so my sister also wears patchouli and has long, very long hair, and I felt like I was hugging my own sister. And from that moment on, they invited me to stay in the home. I've been living in Maggie's home now 10 months. Actually, tomorrow will be my 2-year anniversary of being sober, clean and sober. And since then, I've been growing. God's been teaching me, growing me up as the woman of God that He created me to be. I've joined Hillcrest Baptist Church, became a member. I also sing in the choir. I facilitate Bible studies on Common Ground. He also had given me a blessing because through the years of using crack cocaine, it had destroyed all of my teeth. And last year during Christmas time, the choir was able to bless me with a new set of beautiful teeth. As well as that, I have also dedicated time to volunteering at the Austin Recovery Rehabilitation Center. And God is using me there to be able to hopefully be on the direct care staff to help other people that experience the same thing I have, because I have a great compassion to help others that have experienced what the losses that I've gone through. And I owe it all to Jesus Christ. And I also want to thank Cheryl Selby as a woman of God, that I thank God so much that she heard the calling to open this home and to give women like myself an opportunity to come here and to grow and to overcome our fears and our obstacles in our life. It is such a blessing to me to be a part of this ministry and this church. And that's why tonight I want to give Jesus Christ all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise for the salvation of my soul and for the forgiveness of my many, many sins. Thank you.